All right, hello. I know I'm late. I know I'm behind. Let's just get into it.
Hey there, I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and yes, I'm back from vacation in a much better week as we got Post Malone, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and
God,
this
this is
is
so old. Oh my god.
Billboard Breakdown.
I gotta catch up, man. I gotta catch up.
You know, maybe it's just the makeup call from last week's truly awful episode where, full disclosure, actually putting it all together was a nightmare in terms of getting the footage in coherent condition, even before having to deal with terrible music. But thankfully, following up on that vacation review on the main channel, we have, as I predicted, the album bomb from Post Malone. And what do you know? It's spread out enough on the Hot 100 to be one of the more reasonable album bombs for me to handle.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't
Sam,
listen
and
to it.
from Nashville Radio at large. Although, given the list of collaborators and Post Malone's usual vector of streaming success, maybe that's the reason the success doesn't feel quite as concentrated. You'd think this might have done a little bit better given the success through the rest of the year,
Makes sense,
because that
yeah.
feels relevant in our top 10.
It feels like
much
it's
to my
bigger
surprise,
because I Have Some
a
Help
bar
is just
song Tipsy by Shabuzi
so
held
fucking
the number
big.
one, despite losing the top spot on both streaming and sales, but it's got enough of a margin in both categories, and it's still on top on the radio, albeit wavering. Apparently,
Also,
that
if
was
you're asking
enough.
where the green
So
screen
what the
is,
hell happened with I Had Some Help by Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen?
I like
stuck
the
at number
setup
two?
better.
Well, the radio started falling off sharply at perhaps the worst possible time, offsetting any streaming gains
Oh,
this
that's
week,
unlucky.
and there just wasn't
Man,
any
he doesn't need
sales
another
push
week
even
at
made
number
in order
one.
to
He
shore up the
doesn't.
margin. Now
It's fine.
compare this to our big new
He'll
arrival
be okay.
this week, Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars at number 3. We'll get into the song itself later, but this looks to be a case of smart marketing across the board. It surged to the top on sales, delivered strong streaming, and while it's got a ways to go to catch up on the radio, it's certainly working there. It's a song that's built for the radio. And hell, that was enough to get over Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar at number 4, where if I were to place a bet on a song fading out pretty fast, it might be this one. Streaming is down, there's another album bomb coming next week which will predominantly impact streaming, and radio looks like it's peaked. If it regains any position, it'll be because songs above it have fallen back. Next we got Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish at number 5, and this is a case where the radio push is very pronounced alongside rock solid streaming, and that's really the edge it had to pull over Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan at number 6, which was literally jumped on the radio advantage while her own streaming held up. Now all of this is bad news, for now, for Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter down to number 7. This won't last, it's gonna rebound next week with the album bomb, and it even picked up radio.
Oh, I have a question for you
thanks
guys.
to songs up.
Okay, so recently I've been listening to the radio, well, in the car. Every time, I go in the car, usually with my mom, I'm listening to the radio. Bro, they played, what is it? Oh my god. That one Madison Beer song, bro, on this one pop station, they played this Madison Beer song. I forgot what it was called. It was like, I wanna feel, wanna touch, or whatever. Like, they played that song, like, a total of 4 times. They played it, like, once, like, one day, and then, like, the next day, they played it, like, 3 times. It's crazy. Actually crazy. Is that song gonna be a hit, or is it just, like, doing really good on the radio? I don't know. Somebody tell me.
Above it losing.
Nobody
but
watches
the
these
streaming
anyway.
losses knocked it
You guys
lower
won't know.
despite its radio
The people
inertia.
who do
And then we
watch.
got Million Dollar Baby by Tommy Richmond slipping down to number 8. I would call this real free fall across the board, especially with trends going into next week, but that will put it alongside Please 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 by Sabrina Carpenter at number 9, which I think will also rebound, but at least the radio is behind it a little bit more. Finally, clinging on to the bottom spot, we got Lose Control by Teddy Swims at number 10. Really the only factor here, he's got multiple losers beneath him that's keeping him propped up. And that naturally takes us to said losers and dropouts. And there are actually a few big ones this week in the latter category. The largest of note, funnily enough, is Feather by Sabrina Carpenter. It's handily clinching a year-end list spot. She's
Crazy.
fine, but it might be much closer for Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar.
No.
And then there are songs like Illusion by Dua Lipa and Sweet Dreams by Ko Wetzel. They look like they're gonna fall well short. I can't say I'm
Illusion.
complaining
Illusion
about
lasted
that. And as I
longer.
expected,
Lasted
on
way
an
longer than I
album
thought it
week,
would.
There's a lot of losers. So let's start off with the debuts that collapsed. It's Up by Drake, Young Thug, and 21
obviously.
Savage collapsed to 46, and Evergreen by Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners fell down to 99. Brief correction from last week, there actually is an extended version of the song that was released somewhat recently with just this band on it. Doesn't really override how underwritten the song is, but the correction is needed. Then, with some continued losers, we got High Road by Co Wetzel and Jesse Murphy.
I'ma take the high
No
road,
Complaints,
baby,
and
get
Lunch by
stoned, take
Billie
a
Eilish
little too
crashing down to
much,
68.
terrible.
Might as well throw in Chihiro down significantly to 93. Then we have the
Chihiro?
gains that fell back, and especially
Surprised
with Chapel
that's still
Roan.
here.
And it'll be interesting to see how many of these songs ultimately rebound, given that they're then facing Sabrina Carpenter directly next week. Casual fell to 73, Femininomenon hit 82, and My Kink is
Hey,
Karma
if Casual,
lost all its gains down to 94.
is on year
We'll see
end,
how they come back. Next, let's take a look at country, because Post Malone's
might be
new
going on
album
my best
is
list.
directly positioned to cannibalize
Maybe.
from Music Row, and as such,
I'm
there were
making a
some
best list in,
considerable
worst
mainstream
list this year.
country losses. Bulletproof by Nate Smith down to 58. You'll Look Like You Love Me by Ella Langley featuring Riley Green at 61. Chevrolet by Dustin Lynch and Jelly Roll at 71. Hang Tight Honey by Lainey Wilson at 77. She might get a boost next week. Wind Up Missing You by Tucker Wetmore at 81.
That shit's
I
still
Think I'm
here.
in Love with You by Chris Stapleton and
That
Dua
shit's
Lipa
still
at
here.
85. And American Nights by Zach
That
Bryan
shit's
at
still
100.
here.
Now the rest are pretty scattered, all things considered. From the bottom up, You My Everything by Sexy Red and Drake
That's
at
still
95.
here.
Devil Is a Lie by Tommy Richmond at 92. I Love You, I'm Sorry by Gracie Abrams at 90. Belong Together by Mark Amber at 89.
At my job, there's a
by
woman
Luis
who was
R.
listening to
Conriquez
Gracie
and
Abrams.
Vega at 86. The Boy Is Mine by Ariana Grande at 75. Lonely Road by Machine
You know,
Gun
it's
Kelly
really
and Jelly
it's really
Roll.
useful. It's really useful to have a lot of like mainstream music knowledge because like you can really interact with people like very easily. You know what I'm saying? Like, just knowing like kind of like the core things and like basic characteristics of certain artists is very useful for conversations. That's what I've seen. Like I'm very good like with conversating with people because music is talked about a lot. Like music is probably one of the most like talked about things in conversation, right? So I could really go up to a lot of people and really talk to them about really anybody, really, because like I know so much about a lot of artists, like oh, you like Chappelle Roan? Well, okay, I like Good Luck Babe. I like Casual. Like, oh, you like fucking, I don't know, Drake. Oh, I thought his last album was okay. Like, oh, you like Zach Bryan. I listened to some of the songs off there. Do you know the song with John Mayer? Yeah, see, like, it's very useful because music always comes up in conversations, and it's very easy to conversate with people when you know about the topic. And when you know a little bit about a topic, then that person is gonna like you more, especially when you're talking about their favorite artist, right? Like, if you're talking about someone's favorite artist, they're gonna want to talk about their favorite artist a lot. And when you're talking about that favorite artist with them, they're gonna like you a lot more. Just saying, guys, get your music knowledge up. Get your music. It's very, very helpful.
74. Help Me by Real Boston
Kinda
Richie at
yapped there,
72. Band for Band by Central C and Lil Baby at 70. Gotta Only by Floyd Menor and Chris MJ at 69. Mamushi by Megan Thee Stallion and Yuki Chiba at 52. And finally, a pair of losses for Charlie XCX. Apple down to 62.
Damn.
And the remix of Guess with Billie Eilish at 33.
Rat Summer's over.
And naturally, the story is going to
Even though
go
those
toward
songs
gains
weren't even
because
that
no
big.
returns this week, and it's all
Let's be
Post
honest, those
Malone
songs are
here. There's only two
Nah.
gains, and they
Going
are
too
Pour Me
crazy.
a Drink with Blake Shelton up to 13, and Guy for That with Luke Combs up to 17. And since we are in big album bomb territory with 15 new songs, I'm covering
Oh, I
the
didn't
best,
know
the worst,
he
and those in the top
like
20.
hit a
And
bunch
what
of
do you
fucking
know?
those
None of the
songs.
songs got up that high. None of the new ones. How nice. So for all the rest, Never Love You Again with Sierra Farrell at 78. Someone tell these dudes to actually let her match them and not just place her on backing tracks. Devil I've Been with Ernest at 66. This is a real vintage 90s country song that nearly clinched one of the honorable mentions. Hide My Gun with Hardy at 65. Missing You Like Me.
I didn't listen to
with
any of this,
Luke
I'm not
Combs
gonna
at
lie.
63. Goes
It's
Without
crazy
Saying
because I
with
was like,
Brad
I was so
Paisley at
excited
60.
for the Post
Have
Malone
the Heart
album
with
last
Dolly
year.
Parton at 56.
Austin,
Was
I listened to all of it too, but like this Post Malone
my
album,
God, The
Did
production
not
of Dolly Parton's voice is a disaster.
have my
Yours at
attention.
54, Finer Things with Hank Williams Jr.
Because
at
country.
42,
Country
What
isn't
Don't
my
Belong to Me at
forte.
40,
Even though I do like
Losers
some
with
country,
Jelly
but
Roll at 25, and Wrong Ones with Tim McGraw at 23. So now on to a pretty healthy list of new arrivals. Let's actually first start off with number 98, Sailor Song by Gigi Perez.
And when you get a taste, can you tell me what's my flavor? I don't believe in God, but I believe that
I've heard this song. It's alright. It's not bad. Bro, I need to learn how to fucking play guitar, bro. Oh my god.
Alright,
Guys,
starting with
guys,
the fact I
the
actually
day that I master all my favorite John Mayer songs on the guitar, the world will be mine. It will be mine. Okay, everything will be in my hands. The world will be in my grip. Once, bro, what? I'll be too OP, bro. I'll be too OP. Give me an acoustic guitar. I'm gonna learn EXO, In Your Atmosphere. I'm gonna try to learn Energize. I heard that one's pretty hard. I'm gonna try and learn Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Give me an electric guitar. Ooh. Oh, I need to learn. I need to learn guitar so bad. Oh my god, I wish my mom made me learn guitar. Fuck. God damn it. I want to learn guitar so bad, bro.
Not familiar with. A pop folk singer-songwriter who blew up of, what do you know, TikTok, and with this song, and you know what? I hear the appeal. The hazy cycling.
Is this a girl or a dude?
The choppy acoustic strumming, the tighter multi-tracking of Perez's deeper but yelping vocals remind me a lot of late 2000s
Gigi
folk
Perez.
music, and the decidedly
like...
lesbian framing of wanting
Oh.
to cling on to this steamy relationship, luxuriate in the relief of
I mean,
finally
it's supposed to
finding
be a
someone,
guy, you know?
at least until
I mean,
their
oh,
paths
never mind.
inevitably diverge. Which, given how much the hook focuses on the sailor imagery, that's
I was gonna make a
something
joke
that
about
Perez
Drake being a
thinks is
lesbian, but
inevitable,
yeah,
but
it's
she's
just never
comfortable
mind.
with holding
Never mind.
on to it. I think if I have any issues with
I
the
got my
song,
proof.
outside of the very obvious points of influence, it might come with how melodically it doesn't really develop
Sailor
that much
song,
into that
you are
hook.
not Biba
The
Doobie.
vocals might be a bit louder,
Putting song
but
in the name of
lead
your
melody
song.
could afford to show more flair, change it up. It feels like the song is really crying out for more of a dramatic climax. But outside of that, yeah, you know what? Decent Torch song. I can see it working.
What is
Not
a
sure how long
Torch
it's
song?
gonna last, but yeah. It's
Mark,
I'll
it's
take
not
it.
a Torch
Number
song, it's a
97,
Sailor song.
New Woman by Lisa featuring Rosalia.
What is happening in this video? I think I heard like a clip of this.
I guess I'm not that.
It's a
surprised that
woman's
Lisa's gonna
world, and
work with
we're lucky
Rosalia.
to be
Their band thing
living
at least
in
falls
it.
in similar territory, even if I think Rosalia is more experimental. But when your main producer is Max Martin because you really want that stateside hit, I get the feeling experimentation was not the intention here. And you can tell Max Martin's firmly locked into that wiry synth pop lane he was giving The Weeknd a couple years back, with the fizzy program percussion and the oily pulse of that groove.
What is this
Although
video?
the scratches tossed in are certainly a choice, at least until the song switches up completely for Rosalia's verse, where the bass just crushes out the mix into the sort of tone-shattering trap breakdown. Doesn't match the tempo or vibe of the song at all. Granted, some of this might be the attempt to fuse together the styles. Lisa's cocky Blackpink flexing doesn't have the same sultry sensuality of Rosalia's, although they try to find some common ground in the lyrics, working that metaphor of purple bruises into gold. But I'm sorry, the girl boss vibes of the song feel so clinical, lacking in chemistry. They barely register as feeling that special. I don't know, it feels like an attempt to brute force a global hit with all the pieces that could work, but the
What?
final
Is this
song
a global
lacks
hit?
a lot
Is this
to me.
song doing
I
good
can't
still?
call this good.
don't know.
I'd say skip it.
Also,
Number
what happened to that
91,
Jimin song?
Pretty slowly, by
I reacted to
Vince
this on my
Moon.
main channel. It's mid. I even put in the fucking title. It's mid.
Anyone else feel like Benson Boone's moment is already running on fumes? I mean, he's had hits this year. Stay tuned for my worst list when I revisit them. But after TikTok and Universal result in a pissing match, outside of Beautiful Things, the whole Benson Boone phenomenon seems to have faded in favor of much better music. And I think Benson Boone
Was there a Benson Boone
understand
phenomenon?
that,
I feel like it
as
just
this
kind of
apparently
like was
a
played on the
single
radio.
pair for the next album, and oh wow, someone really wants to be Noah Kahan with that vocal patter, the soft acoustics and piano, and let's not forget the kick drum stomp clap. But honestly, that comparison might not be fully apt. With the piano taking a lot more attention on the hook, I was honestly reminded a lot more of the piano rock that proliferated in the late 2000s and early 2010s, alongside the club boom from artists like Gavin DeGraw, often produced by Ryan Tedder. I mean, at least Ryan Tedder knew how to let the bombast have some mix depth and not sound so forced as Boone starts caterwauling in his excruciating upper register. It's actually a little bit strange that for as much as Benson Boone wants to rock a bit harder, his guitars have no texture. There's no swell to all his grand crescendos. They feel so two-dimensional. Producer Evan Blair doesn't have much in the way of respectable credits.
I can see that.
Maybe he's a larger part of the problem that has been properly examined. But you know what? To Benson Boone's credit, and my utter shock, I think the lyrics here might be what saves the song. It's a post-breakup track where the strongest emotions might be existential confusion, balanced out with
I forgot what the lyrics were. I don't remember.
For leaving, and
there's a most forgettable song of all time.
He thinks they're speeding away in the opposite directions of each other, probably for the better. And it feels like when he committed to the breakup, he just had to keep moving to blow past any of his own second guessing. And the song utilizes that kinetic energy rather effectively. So yeah, as someone who does not like Benson Boone and maybe just appreciates this more because he's cosplaying as Noah Kahan, I think there's a part of me that might be able to defend this song. It is far from great, maybe not even good, but I can tolerate it. Number 83, Mexico by Post Malone featuring Billy Strings.
Shade of a coconut tree, and love said go to hell, but there's somewhere I'd rather be. So it's M-E-X-I-C-O for me.
So, okay, one thing that went a bit underappreciated with Post Malone's country experiment is that he can kind of be funny when he wants to be. So pairing him up with indie country star Billy Strings for a fast-picking, bluegrass-tinged bit of rollicking fun, that's a nice touch. It's a good choice, especially when you ramp up the pedal steel and saloon piano and fiddle for one of the most warm and playful mixes on the entire album, certainly one of the most up-tempo. And yes, there are absolutely the fast-picked acoustic solos that are followed by great fiddle and pedal steel. They sound great. I know some folks are complaining that the pedal steel is a bit quiet. I hear it, but I think the larger nitpick is that Billy Strings really could have been given a little more to do than just backing vocals for the hook. But the larger observation here is that this song's hilarious. It's basically a screwball comedy where Post Malone keeps trying to hook up with girls all across America and Mexico, and, well, hijinks ensue before he ultimately winds up getting locked up in a Mexican prison, and the vacation suddenly got a lot longer. Hell, I normally don't like hooks where you spell out the word, but this one actually works for me. It's a great little deep cut. I got no illusions it's gonna stick around, but it is so much fun when it's here. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Number 50,
I'll go check it out.
Nosedive by Post Malone featuring Lainey Wilson.
Is that the woman with the large ass? I think it is the woman with the large ass, right?
Whereas on the flip side with this song, you know, Post Malone's never really pushed a pop crossover ballad as a hit. No, I Fall Apart does not count. Shut up. Hell, I wouldn't even say Candy Paint or Sunflower or Morning fall in that territory. I'm talking about the song that could become a real radio staple long term. Normally the third single from the album that maybe even hits adult contemporary radio. Nosedive is probably the closest that Post Malone has gotten to this. Maybe Wasting Angels could have fit, but this feels built for that.
Wasting
The
Angels, I
reverb
remember
twinkle
that
of the
song.
lead acoustic guitar with electric guitar and fiddle embellishments that might be a bit overproduced, but I didn't mind it. The big lighters in the air hook. Lainey Wilson as the partner
this is
with
not
whom he
this is
actually
not a
has
hit, so
chemistry,
unfortunate.
and who
Or maybe it
sounds
is. I don't know. Maybe it's like
decent
lurking in the
inside
top
Post
50 or
Malone's
something.
usual reverb heavy mix. Hell, it even directly references and then inverts Poison's Every Rose Has Its Thorn and one of the more striking melodic elements of the album. Yeah, that song's one of the dumbest hair metal ballads, but it's also a personal favorite of mine going back decades. I really liked that. And you know why? I really like the airplane metaphor stretched across the song too, which is almost so ridiculous it does not work. What's romantic romantic about a plane crash or a plane going into a nosedive, but poetically, there's a sort of beauty in that odd feeling of falling in love, which can feel like falling out of the sky, especially when you got that bone deep
Can't
feeling
relate.
that it could all fall apart, even as you have to find a way to ride out through the turbulence. But honestly, listen to this.
Was that intended? Was that
pop
pun
crossover
intended
for Lainey
there,
Wilson,
Mark? I see what
and
you
a
did.
song that could easily
You
become
can't
a
hide from
staple
me.
for Post Malone that he can play for the rest of his life. I mean, part of it kind of reminds me of Two Most Wanted by Beyonce and Miley Cyrus from earlier this year, in that it's such an obvious old school hit record. You could write the promotional treatment in your sleep, but unlike Beyonce, who has apparently outgrown the need for hits, this could well stick around. I hope it does. Excellent song. Number 34, California Sober by Post Malone featuring Chris Stapleton.
These lips try.
You ever hear a song where you're sure it should be way better, but the central foundation of the song is just fundamentally broken? Yeah, this is one where I'm frankly shocked in how it just does not work across the board remotely. I'm almost at a loss.
Yeah,
to
I saw
describe
the
it. That
clip
central
on
brighter
Twitter.
acoustic line and
Everybody was
fiddle,
hating on
it's
it.
not bad
Well, no.
with cycling progression,
Not everyone.
but they're trying to marry
The
it to
quote
this
tweets were hating on
lockstep,
it. Usually,
swampy groove with a little
the
bit too much
replies are
reverb all around.
nicer.
One of the more overproduced songs here, and it just comes across as like seasick and unstable, especially when Post
Seasick.
Malone and Stapleton try to harmonize together, and it's shockingly messy and slapdash. But then they just start hollering really early on the song, elongating notes way too long, and then they sound like they're sinking into the reverb. It's just really ugly. Then we got the content where apparently they pitched up the hitchhiker, and that hitchhiker proceeded to drink all their whiskey, smoke all their pot, rob them blind, and then leave them behind with a wink and a smile. I know it's supposed to be a joke song that they got screwed over by this woman, but the punchline is so weak with the final line that if they find a wall across that stretch of highway, it's gotta be Post Malone's discarded one. Yeah, this reminds me way too much of the sleazy, quasi-jokey boogie rock country songs of the mid-70s that just fucking suck. Low-grade crap by everyone involved. They should really know better. Bad song, skip it. And finally, number 3, Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars.
With a smile, if the world was ending, I'd wanna be next to you.
You know, I'm honestly surprised this collab did not happen sooner. They're both consummate performers, both highly theatrical with distinct nostalgic ties to the past, both probably missing a little bit of substance in their larger catalog, but their best hits are remarkable. This makes all kinds of sense, especially when they get James Fauntleroy coming up for the co-write and DeMille reprising Silk Sonic production credits to team up with Watt for the real assist here. This is an all-star cast. And you know, I feel like this is the sort of track that will probably grow on me with time, but it's not quite there yet. An impeccably produced 70s soul ballad with a surprising amount of well-balanced guitar muscle, with a great bass line even before Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga deliver some pretty damn good vocal chemistry and harmonies on this whole Love Together at the End of the World song. But that's kind of all it is. It's a similar critique of Silk Sonic, that the pastiche was all that some seemed to see that was there, but at least they had some loose humor. They write sensual music, and honestly went a little further. I think, again, their debut was kind of underrated. This is played more straight in the vein of a classic power ballad that this does not feel as sexy. It feels like it's missing that little touch to make it feel more special. Maybe actually have the guitar solo on the instrumental passage, or cut loose with a saxophone, or an organ, or a synthesizer, or maybe
I
just
can
add a
see
bit
that,
more
but
grit to make it feel like a
I think the song's
proper
fine.
70s throwback. But as it
Didn't
is,
need all that.
you know, it's a real nice song. I'm just not hearing that extra lift just yet. It might grow on me, but as it is,
You gotta hear it in concert, I
just
feel
good.
like.
Not
You see all the
great.
people with
But
like
that
their
was our
fucking
week.
flashlights
Yeah,
out and shit.
Much better than the last one.
I
My
wanna
worst
be
is
next
California Sober by
to
Post Malone and Chris
you.
Stapleton,
Like that, everybody's
with
going
Just
like
Honorable
that,
Mention
and everybody's
going to
singing
New
and shit,
Woman
yeah.
by Lisa and Rosalia.
You know what?
That's
You know what I've
pretty
realized?
damn good,
Concerts
all
can
things
really like
considered.
alter
As for
your
best,
opinion on a
yeah,
song.
it's
Like
a
when you
narrow
see a
race,
song
but I
at
think Post
concert,
Malone
like wait,
has
oh
it
shit,
with
is this
Nosedive
fire?
With Lainey Wilson just
Mostly holy
edging
shit, it's
out
fire.
Mexico with Billy Strings. It is real damn close. Next week,
Oh, there's the next video.
yeah, all Sabrina Carpenter. Stay tuned for that. But until then,
Should I do a double
I'm Mark.
reaction in one
You're
video?
watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you next time.
You know what? I think I will actually. Should I do a double? Yeah, No, I gotta keep it. I got it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go next one. Next one. Go subscribe to Billboard Breakdown. Go subscribe to Special Post. Love you.